Hello everyone, and welcome to my first dev diary for my new project, Legacy of Yore. My name is Kev Glass and I've been developing games in my spare time for over 30 years. Over that time I've put out hundreds of web and mobile games and had some success with releases like Tiltlation and Legends of Yore. It's been nearly 10 years since Legends was released and people still seem to like it, so I guess it's time for a sequel. Legacy of Yore is an RPG set again in the world of Yore. This time you control a party of 3 characters, warrior, archer and wizard, adventuring around the world, exploring dungeons and trying to rid the land of evil. The game design is focused on making a more casual mobile experience and avoiding the RSI that was induced by the previous game. I'm nearly to a point where I can release an early version for people to play, but today I'm going to talk a bit about the technologies used to make the game. I've used many different languages over the years. I actually started with the ZX81, but for a long time Java was my go-to. Over the last 10 years Java has got heavier to use, slower IDEs and slower build systems. I also want to deploy my game on the web, and while I can do that in Java in several ways, it's not the easiest path. Enter TypeScript, Java shape but with all the ease and portability of JavaScript. Legacy of Yore is written entirely in TypeScript, compiled and then packaged with all the game data and resource files. The result is a standard web deployable that works on any of the cheap hosting out there. On mobile platform, the game is distributed via the web and supports Portable Web Application or PWA. This allows the game to be installed on the device and act like a normal mobile app while being updated via the same standard web page. That brings me to libraries and frameworks. Someone told me once that you want to be writing games, not frameworks, and it still holds true to me. My time for game development is pretty limited, normally less than 2 hours a day, so I A. don't want to be building more than I have to, and B. don't want to spending time debugging other people's libraries or frameworks. Rather than use a framework or library, I just rely on what's native to HTML and JavaScript. My games are visually pretty simple, and Legacy of Yore is no different. Simple 2D graphics achieved with HTML canvas element, adding a couple of small wrappers for tile sets and bitmap fonts. Audio is well supported in browsers using audio context for low latency. Input, network, offline play are all there free in the browser. The only piece I've added is managing resources nicely in a distributable data file, and that's what JSZip does for me. Outside of the actual code, there's all the other bits of technology that any developer needs. My IDE of choice is VS Code, mostly because it lets me code from my iPad. It's also a damn fast tool. Since I'm deploying a web application, I get package management through npm and packing through the Webpack. This is great since the tools are so widely used that the support is excellent. As I mentioned before, I don't need anything but standard web host to provide the game, though I do use some PHP scripts on the back to save network games and do game activation. The last thing to mention is the general approach to code. When time is as limited as mine, you really have to cut off all of the chaff. I am constantly cross-checking myself on any piece of code I spend a long time on. Is it just a code that I'm geeking out on, or is it really adding something to the end game? I'd recommend that approach to anybody starting out. Well, I hope this is useful to someone out there, or maybe it's useful for me in the future. Either way, thanks for listening and let me know what you think.